I'm Mindie Burgoyne, and this is Fridays in the Graveyard. I love a graveyard, don't you? I'm standing in one of my most favorite burial grounds. I'm in Unionville behind St. Stephen's AME Church, and this is their graveyard in Talbot County, Maryland, by the way. I love this burial ground because it has such a wonderful story. You know, between 1863 and 1866, free blacks and enslaved blacks were able to fight in the Union Army and fight for their freedom. But the problem was, once the war was over, there was another fight, and that was the fight of how to integrate back into society. Because where were the enslaved blacks going to go, the ex-slaves? There was no home for them to go to. And the free blacks were facing problems in that the communities did not want to receive these large numbers of African Americans. They started making rules like their children couldn't go to school, or they couldn't get a business license, couldn't operate a business. And it was, many of the colored troops fled to the cities. But in Talbot County, there was a Quaker family. Their last name was Cowgill, and they owned a very large plantation. In fact, I'm standing on what used to be part of the Lombardy Plantation. And they decided that for the 18 colored troops that were coming back to Talbot County, they would provide a home. And they carved out part of their plantation, and they made a lot for each one of the 18 soldiers. And they said, it's big enough for a house, it's big enough for a vegetable garden, and you can have it for $1 a month. But you have to build a school, and you have to build a church. And they did. And that was 1866. And the descendants of those 18 ex-colored troops, they still live here and make up this community. They originally named the village Cowgill Town after the family that gave them the land. But after a while, they decided to rename it for the one common thread that tied them all together, and that was serving in the Union Army. And so they renamed it Unionville. And every one of those 18 colored troops are buried right here. Right here in the graveyard. All of them are here. Some of them have little American flags next to their markers. And if you look at the markers, you can see that they're the old military markers from the Civil War. So it's a beautiful story of kindness, of welcome, and a great little piece of our history. This graveyard is featured on our Heroes and Villains bus tour. If you ever want to see it, you can go see it yourself, or you can join us. Anyway, I'm Mindie Burgoyne, and this is Fridays in the Graveyard. I will see you next week.